And I'll tell you right now, Tishum, that's why you don't cook bacon in the nude.
I'll keep that in mind.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros. It is 3:02. We are like, what, minute and a half late? Minute and a half late. Man, you start a streak and then you go a minute and a half late, and now you got to start the streak all over. But we've got a lot to discuss on today's show. Crypto prices, after starting off kind of bullish yesterday to go the week, we are down today. What does that mean, and why are the prices falling? We're going to cover that and a lot more. We got some big news for Ethereum, some big news for a lot of brands. We also have a major movement on the top 10 coins. What is that? We'll talk about that and a lot more. Before we get there, though, if you are already a subscriber, go ahead and smash that like button. Got to get the algorithm going, get YouTube pumping people in here. The rest of you, go ahead and just wait on, see if you enjoy the show, and then you can hit that like button as well. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, T-Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T-Shroom, how are we feeling today?
Well, today is one of those days where you're feeling better than you deserve by a wide margin. It's been one of those days, Tim, but we're here. We're digging deep. We're going to find some alpha in these markets for sure. I've got a quote of the day here for you, Tim. Do what you can with what you have, where you are, from an American leader, Theodore Roosevelt, President of the United States.
Hey,
Not
that's
currently.
good. You can't do what you can with things you don't have. So, I like this quote. Some people want to wait for bigger and better things before they do anything, and that's just not the case. That's not what you can do. So, start today. And in this case, talking about investing, don't wait till you have $10,000 to invest. If you have $10, invest the $10 if you believe in the future of crypto. So I 137% agree with that quote, T-Shroom. Do you have any final thoughts on that one before we move on?
On the quote of the day, well,
Yeah.
I would just say, hey, maybe you're out there today and you're unemployed, right? Or you're looking for work, or you don't like what you're doing, right? But you have a skill, like maybe, I don't know why, but woodworking is coming to mind. Carpenters, right? Somebody with a good physical skill that you're not using and you're settling for something else. Do what you can with what you have where you are. If you have to move somewhere to be able to practice that skill, maybe that's you. Let me know in the comments. Have I hit a nerve here? Is there something moving through me to tell you all this today? Maybe not. Maybe this is going to fall on deaf ears and everybody's perfectly employed. Maybe that's the case.
Gotcha. Well, that's going to wrap up our quote of the day. Moho says, can you do sign language because soccer is on? Well, Moho seems to be an American. Who's playing right now, Moho? I'm not up to date on the soccer games happening
It's the
here.
Premier League Championship, I believe. I have to figure out who exactly is playing, but it's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably Everton and AC Milan.
I'm going to go ahead and say that that's probably not the correct answer. Let's go ahead and keep moving on. Eric Brubaker says he is a carpenter. Okay, so maybe you're speaking
cool.
to Eric Brubaker today.
Like
Let's go check out the coin market cap open. Let's see what is happening here. A lot of red, guys. Even the stable coins are down in the red, so you hate to see it. There's one coin in the green, and it just flip-flopped on me, so we got to see how – okay, I'll explain that in a second. We're going to go down a second on Toncoin here in a second, but Bitcoin – down 4%. Ethereum down 5%. BNB only 1.7. So not that bad. Solana only down 3, but you come over here to the weekly chart. It's one of the few in the top 10 that are red on the 7-day. So that's kind of part of that. We're going to get into Solana. We're going to talk a little about Solana. Made a video last night. Should you sell your Solana? Hopefully you guys watched it because there was a lot of good information there. XRP barely in the red, only 0.36. So I think we've said this before, T-Shroom. Go figure. When everything else is pumping, XRP stays behind, but when everything else is falling, it actually finds a beneficial day. Is XRP actually a weird sort of stable coin at 60 to 62 cents? The evidence is piling up here. What says you, T-Shroom? Is it a stable coin?
I think when you're Ripple Labs and you have plans to release a stable coin, you'd think that
they're
the other
testing
coin...
it out, though. They're testing it out on XRP to see how sustainable it is, I think, is what's going on here. Could be wrong.
Maybe the folks today are buying or just wanting to be exit liquidity. Maybe they're just volunteering. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, let's
What
go
else?
back here. Big loss of the top 10. Dogecoin is the big loser, down 7.36%, wiping out pretty much almost all the gains we've had this last week. Cardano only down 0.2, but I want to show you guys something, because you're going to notice that Cardano is technically ranked number 9 right here. There's a 9 next to Cardano, a 10 next to Toncoin. But let's go over and take a look at the market caps. Read with me here. 2, 1, that's 21. It's in the billion category. So 21 billion. Okay, I'm going to stop that. 21 billion, 21.3 billion in market cap for Cardano. Just scroll down to Toncoin, 23. This does appear to be a glitch on CoinMarketCap. Let's see if I refresh, if it fixes the glitch. But Toncoin should be higher than Cardano. Maybe it's waiting till the end of day or something to flip it. I don't know. But Cardano making a move down to number 10. You guys know I love Cardano. There's a lot of people in this community that love Cardano, especially Eric Wallen. Here's the thing. Am I surprised? Am I selling my Cardano because Cardano is on the verge of being kicked out of the top 10? No. Some of you know who have been watching this channel for a while. I made a prediction back in January that at some point during this bull market, Cardano will fall out of the top 10. And then later on, it will climb its way back in. This is right on schedule for what I predicted Cardano would do. Now, does this give concern? I'd be lying to you if I said, like, I have 100% confidence still in Cardano, because there still are signs. Like, I could be wrong. We could see it not repeat history, where 4 years ago we were kind of in the same boat where everyone said it was dead and it wasn't doing anything and the price actually was boring. And then boom, one day it wakes up and shoots off, right? I cannot tell you that I think that that's going to happen with 100% certainty, but I still have high faith that Cardano and the team that's building it is going to have stuff break, that Cardano ecosystem is going to explode when you least expect it, because that's just how Cardano seems to move. I still believe that Cardano is going to have some big gains this bull market. But I don't want to ignore the fact that it is falling, and it's exactly what I told you it would do a couple of months ago. So don't freak out too much there. If you are holding big Cardano bags, this is doing exactly what we thought it would. Let's go take a look at our biggest gainers of the last 24 hours. Would you look at number 1? Toncoin coming in first place. It is back below 8%. It was at 10% earlier today. In fact, it might have been even higher, closer to like a 14% gain, I believe. Had a little bit of cool off the rest of the day, but that's our big gainer. Phantom number 2, Theta number 3, Aave, EOS, Dai, I think is how we pronounce that one. Then we got our stablecoin coming in here right around number 7, give or take. Let's take a look at our biggest losers here today. We got some bigger losers than gainers. Makes sense. A lot of the space being red. You're going to have bigger losers. Wormhole continuing to bleed after kind of popping onto the scene last week. Does this shake your faith in Wormhole, T-Shim? I know you're big on Wormhole. Seeing it continuously the last couple of days be in the red, does this worry you, or are you just thinking, man, it's just a cool off after a massive rally?
Well, I'm not a worrier. I'm a warrior, right?
Oh,
and
good.
Let me just correct for the record, I am not big on Wormhole. I did a 9 a.m. live stream dedicated to looking into Wormhole. And essentially what my takeaway was, this is not out of the realm yet. This is not out of the phase of the airdrop hype, right? Sometimes you'll get an airdrop for a project and there'll be a lot of hype and then it kind of fades back into obscurity. This is, the exception to that would have been Arbitrum, right? Had a huge airdrop moment and it honestly got botched, but it was obvious, but it's here to stay, right? Arbitrum is now an integral, I think it's a top TVL for Ethereum layer 2s. Wormhole for me is not out of that phase yet. So could it be the next Arbitrum, not as a layer 2, but as what it's seeking to do? Or is it just going to fade back into obscurity like every other crypto that had a very big airdrop and no follow through?
Yeah, I think at the moment, the real reason we're seeing a lot of blood on Wormhole, of course, has to do with the recent negativity surrounding Solana. What is Wormhole? Wormhole is something that's working to get things from other systems into Solana, and that's part of the reason why we have so much congestion causing Solana to be more bearish here recently. I believe Solana is going to fix all that. I think Wormhole is going to be A-okay. And so what I'm looking at with these continuous red days, down almost 40% in the week, that's a buying opportunity for me when it comes to Wormhole. I think it's going to be a big part of our portfolio. Let's keep going. Dog with hat, Core. Love Core. Speaking of Core, this is one of my coins I'm trading this week. I did purchase it. I think I'm up roughly 12% since my purchase. T-Shroom, have you bought or sold? So you were doing 2 longs, correct?
That's right.
Are you entering? Are you already in your trades for this week, or
I am
where are
not
you
yet.
at?
I've not entered those
Yeah.
trades quite yet, Tim. But
I
now that we've had this correction, it's looking
yeah.
more and more like I
Yeah.
might be entering those today or maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, I got my long on core and a short on was it C? Well, I can't remember the ticker itself. I have not entered my CKB short just yet. Not seeing all the signs there to go with it, but I'm liking where I am so far with core. We also got Beams, a really big down day, 10%. Pepe. So you're seeing a couple different meme coins in here. Ordi, Say, Maker, Bonk. We are all big losers. Let's go ahead and transition here. Let's go before we go too far into the charts. First of all, charts are brought to you guys always by Lux Algo. And I put a poll in chat because I've gotten some interest over in the Discord group. Guys, go vote on the poll. Would you be interested in a webinar for me teaching you my settings and a tutorial how to use Lux Algo? Go vote in that. I think we're going to do it. I'm just interested to see how many people would show up to that. I might even be able to get a couple of you, maybe the first couple of people that sign up. Once I get a form out there to sign up for it, might even be able to get a couple people 7 days for free. But you have to say you want to come to that webinar, and we'll figure it out here. Before we get into the charts on Bitcoin, let's address the topic of the video and an article that's kind of giving us some details. Go back to my screen here. Why are Bitcoin prices falling? Let's just adjust this for a second. It's not just why is Bitcoin falling. Why are crypto prices falling today? Ultimately, over the weekend, we saw a lot of bullishness start to develop. We saw a lot of the charts actually swing from being more bearish into being bullish. Well, there are two big reasons in the news that I think that prices are falling right now. And then we're going to go to the charts and I'm going to show you what's happening on the charts. Let's go back to my screen here. The two reasons, both highlighted in this article. Number one, Bitcoin price is falling due to significant net outflow from Bitcoin spot ETFs. Now, there's some disagreement on this. I know some websites are almost showing like we had some positivity, but I saw several different articles today talking about how Grayscale had the largest outflows, the largest net outflows it had since March 20th. Right. So the price doesn't get affected during the day. The price gets affected at night when all of a sudden Grayscale has to go and then sell that Bitcoin because, of course, ETFs are not tied directly to the price. It just can have somewhat of an offset effect on it. But to me, that really only explains Bitcoin going down. And of course, when Bitcoin drops a little bit, you're going to see altcoins bleed a little. But the second one, I think, is the bigger detail. Moreover, concerns about tomorrow's U.S. inflation data continue. We're going to take a look there, but ultimately, U.S. inflation has been coming in poorly for 2 months, even though Federal Reserve members may not pay much attention. A 75 basis point rate cut, which, by the way, is what a lot of people are expecting, could be a difficult scenario. Why is that a difficult scenario? Well, let's go over here and take a look. This is what's going to happen tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. We're going to be getting details. So T-Shroom will have these details for you tomorrow in the 9 a.m. show. But here's where it's coming at. The previous levels, 0.4 for core inflation month over month, 3.8 for core inflation rate year over year. Consensus is expecting a drop, right? However, there's some growing negativity that these numbers are not going to get hit, that the numbers will come in higher than expected. And if that's the case, if they do come in higher, meaning higher than 3.7 year over year, higher than 0.3% month over month, you're going to see the negativity possibly continue. If we hit these numbers or go even lower, we should see a nice little boost up when the markets open because people will be more positive. But ultimately, if we miss these numbers, and again, as the article said, we kind of missed the last 2 months. If that negativity continues, Jerome Powell has already said he is very comfortable not lowering interest rates 1 basis point before he feels confident that disinflation is back in play. Not deflation, disinflation, right? So let's continue to keep an eye on that. But again, today, growing concerns that those numbers might miss. That is what's leading to some negativity. We cannot wait to get those numbers tomorrow morning. And then, of course, Caleb Franzen will be on the afternoon show, the 3 p.m. show with us, where he gets to break down what he's seeing and what his thoughts are. We love our Caleb Franzen Wednesdays. If you love it, smash the like button, put a 1 in chat so we know you love Caleb Franzen. All of this, though, kind of takes us back here to the charts. T-Shroom, let's go ahead and take a look here. And it's funny, you know, we are in this symmetrical triangle pattern. Before I bring up Lux Algo, and I'm going to bring it up because that's going to kind of give us a better and clearer picture of what's going on here. We were in this symmetrical triangle pattern that we got a breakup to the upside. Everyone went crazy. My Twitter feed was just full of a lot of people saying, here we go, breakup to the upside, 85K coming, new highs coming, yada, 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 yada. However, do you guys remember that I put this picture on X yesterday? And I said, hey, this is the scenario for a positive price action. This is a scenario for the bearish price action. And we're doing pretty darn close to what the bearish scenario was. I said, watch out for a repeat, a drop back down. I don't know why I'm on a 6 hour chart. Let's go to the 4 hour. Watch out for a drop back down to this red line. But don't buy simply because there's a bounce at first. Wait for the price to get back above where these 4 hour candle closes happened. If we get back above 72,200, give or take, then we should feel confident longing the space and getting a bullish price action. I said that, but I also said take a look at what will happen in a shorting situation. This could have been a fake out. Watch for a drop below that red level. I kind of just stabbed at an area where price could get to. I kind of went with the smart trail concept on the 4 hour chart, but I said, watch for a pullback back in the smart trail concept. We'll probably bounce back up to the red level, turning it into resistance once again, and then we'll drop back down below, and your entry for a short potentially should be somewhere in this range of dropping back down below those levels. I went below. Technically speaking, let's kind of watch what happens when we get down to the support level, but you get my point. I played this out for you guys that we do see these fake outs happen where on the daily chart, a lot of things are looking bearish. Let's just take a look here. Let's go away from this one. Use a clear screen. A lot of things will look bearish for a while. We were bearish, got a buy flash. Guess what happened here, guys? This to me is something you guys should keep an eye on for why we're going to be moving to the downside. I love Lux Algo, but you cannot just follow it blindly. You have to know how to read what the charts are saying along with the signals. And in this case, did we have a buy signal yesterday? Do we have a take profit a lot higher? Absolutely. Here's the problem though. Lux Algo is not sit here to just give you straight up buy signals and straight up sell signals. You need to know the direction, the trend of which the market is moving. And guess what? Until price gets back above 73,700 at the moment, whether you like it or not, it's moving in at best a sideways, if not downward bearish price action. I know that doesn't sound good. I know no one wants to hear that. But if you want to make money in the trading game, you have to remove your emotions and look at the details, look at the charts, look at the facts, and trade accordingly. And to me, when I see a buy signal coming in here that pretty much marked the top, that communicates to me how strong the bears are right now, not the bulls. And so I am expecting at least a drop back down to the yellow support band down towards 66,000. But I actually expect it to drop a little bit more. And for that, I'm going to go over here to High Block Capital, where we're going to look at a couple of different timelines. But the biggest one right now, let's look at this. This would be the 7-day right here. Now, there's not a lot of bright yellow. You guys know when we're looking at liquidations, we look for the bright yellow portions. However, here, the brightest spot on the chart after this little fake out rally up above 72 is way down here below 65. In fact, we see a hefty amount of liquidations that take us right back down to the $60,000 level. If we come out here and we take a look at the 1 month chart, because the 7 days, we're just talking about maybe the next week. Oh, I'm going to refresh here. Give me just a second, guys. There we go. 1 month. You're good. You can share my screen. It's just a quick reset right there. 1 month chart. Boom. All right. Do we have some bright yellow above us? Yes, we do, but we just rejected. Take a look where we have other bright yellow. We actually still have bright yellow that potentially could take us all the way to where? $50,000. Now, I've told you guys, I'm sitting here still confidently believing I think that there's borderline a 50% chance we drop below 60,000. That means 50% chance we stay above 60,000. I ultimately am still going to be in the same car, the same prediction that I made about a week ago, that I believe as we go into the halving event, which is this green line right here. Right now, early estimates are saying the 20th should be the halving day. I think we trade sideways into it and sideways out of it. And we're not going to really see the explosion of the next bull market until probably either late May or early June. And that's when we see Bitcoin take off. What I'm seeing right here is kind of, in my eyes, confluence of that. Are there signs on the 4-hour and daily chart that we could go a little higher? There's some signs, but we're seeing the bears kind of kill all of those signs and actually now predicting lower movements in play. We take a look at the oscillators here. Money flow healing. It's sideways, but it looks like it's going downward. We also see the reversal signal and the bearish momentum. We flash very briefly 100% overbought. The MACD just crossed bearish on the 4-hour chart. We're seeing some fake out stuff happening. And someone in Discord asked about this. They said, man, it just seemed like things were getting so bullish, and then it flipped on us. T-Shroom, we got to talk about, T-Shroom talked about this very, very heavily over the last couple of months. One of the downsides of the large institutional adoption of Bitcoin is the volatility. And we're not talking about volatility of 40, 50, 60%. That's too much. But we're talking about volatility within 20, 15, 10%. That is normal. That is like the big bad bully on the playground shaking the lunch money out of your pockets. This is what happens when institutions get in the game. They want to make the money. They want to make the wealth. They don't want you to. So they convince you at tops to buy because they convince you everything's so bullish. And then the price drops back down and they convince you, oh, no, things are getting really bad. You need to sell all your Bitcoin back to us. That you sell the bottoms and they shake you out little by little. My big recommendation to people, if you feel confident with your trading, again, that's where Lux Algo really comes into play. These Lux Algo signals, if you know how to read the sentiment of what's happening, have been killer. They've been making some great money. If you want to trade. But for you long-term holders, or for maybe if you're more of a, you trade in and out every now and then, do not sell your Bitcoin to the institutions right now. Hold on. Hold on, because I guarantee you, now that we're falling, they're not saying to sell just yet, but we're going to drop lower and lower, and all of a sudden, you're going to get a bunch of FUD articles, and you're going to see Bitcoin falling to 30K. Oh, the bull market's over. I just guarantee you there will be people with super bearish opinions. Peter Schiff is going to come out, and he's going to be roaring as we're watching gold go to all-time highs, and Bitcoin kind of go sideways. You'll see more bears like JB Diamond and others come out assuring you that Bitcoin is dropping off, and that is just the guard changing and saying, all right, it's time to buy again. However, we got to get these retail investors to cough up all of their supply and get out of the space. That is what the game plan is going to be. Even if we drop to 48K, let's go out here really fast and go to a large macro perspective here. I just want you guys to see what price action would look like if it goes to 48K. Let's just say we get this down here, we break. I'm just going to go a straight line, even though it's not going to look like that. And then we bounce back up here and go to the upside. Let's go here. Boom. All right. Let's say that's the price action. At the end of the day, that is still a very, very bullish chart. That is still an amazing looking chart that is showing us higher highs and higher lows. Do not chicken out selling your Bitcoin here, promising maybe that you get down here, because at the end of the day, I'm not convinced we're getting to 48K. This is what would make a lot of sense. But to me, I'm kind of sitting here saying, I think, again, 50% chance we don't even drop below this right here, this $60,000 mark. And what they're going to do is convince you to sell somewhere right in here with the hopes of buying lower or buying even maybe down towards 32, only to then buy all of your supply here at 60,000 and then price shoots to the upside. Don't fall for it. Where I will say, if you guys want to potentially, again, with your own understanding and with your own research, I do believe this is a season of time that if Bitcoin even falls down to 60K and stays within our 60 to 70K range, I think that we're going to see altcoins fall even further. I mean, what we're talking about with Bitcoin, from the high that we have, the all-time high, we're talking about maybe another 17% move to the downside. Is that somewhat major? Somewhat, but it's not crazy. That's still really staying in a range of sideways price action for Bitcoin. When it comes to our alts, though, I do think there's levels you could look at a little bit lower. I think when it comes to ETH, I think ETH probably defends 3,000, right? So I think ETH's a little safer. Cardano, I mean, we're already down more than 30%. I think there's a decent chance Cardano falls at least down here towards 55 cents. That would be from the top of it, a pullback nicely down here, 33, 35. I think there's a chance it even drops a little bit lower. I'm just going to be honest with you. I love Cardano, but I think there's a chance it drops lower. Solana, I've told you guys, I think there's a decent chance it at least drops back down to 160. I think there's even still a good chance out there it drops closer towards 120, 124, because it's just overextended. It's got some bad publicity. It's a perfect storm, a coin that rallied majorly with big gains, and now a combination of healthy pullbacks are required, and there's some negative news. This is the perfect storm for Solana to have a nice cool off and then be regrouping and rebought up and then explode to the upside once again. I think there's some coins out there that I probably am not looking at all to take profit because I think they're down for support, like Chainlink. Chainlink, I think, is getting there. I think ICP potentially is a coin that might not have a lot of dip left in it. I think AVAX could still correct more. I think AVAX could still make its way down here towards 32, 33 cents. My point here is do not be surprised for Bitcoin to trade mostly sideways, slightly downwards, and then some of your altcoins to actually have these big bleeding situations. Just take a look at Ethereum. Look at Ethereum back here in the past. I did this a little yesterday, but I want to do it for you again because Ethereum, even though it was still the number 2 altcoin, at this point back in the 2020, 2021 period, it wasn't as mature as it was today. I think a lot of altcoins can make similar movements to like things that Ethereum did back in 2020. Well, let's just take a look. From the bottom being set December of 2018, Ethereum experienced one nice little 70% pullback. I'm not going to count COVID because that's an outlier, but let's just go to other pullbacks. We see a nice pullback right here of 38%. That doesn't look very big, does it? That was 38%. We have another one right in here. Let's see what this one was. A nice little another 38% pullback. That doesn't look very big, does it? And then, of course, you have this nice pullback, just like the rest of the market, where Ethereum in a bull market pulls back 63%. All of this is bullish. All this is higher highs and higher lows. But this is what happens in altcoins. Bitcoin pulls back 20%. Altcoins pull back 40%. Bitcoin pulls back 30%. Altcoins pull back 60%. In these pullbacks, this is a time where you absolutely can get Bitcoin to go up, go sideways / barely down, and the altcoins bleed a lot more. It's the Bitcoin dominance that gets the upside during these movements. That's just how the cycles work. Now, not saying you have to sell your altcoins, but I'm saying if you're feeling itchy, like you got to take some profit and buy back lower, you have a better bet with a lot of the altcoins than you do with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those ones are pretty solid. I would not risk trying to take profit and losing out your great positions. Altcoins, I'm feeling very confident right now that altcoins are not yet done bleeding to the downside during our kind of run into the halving and a trickle a little bit after it. That was a lot of stuff right there, but I hope you guys were able to chew it up, spit out the bones, continue to think for yourself, listen to the arguments I made. If you don't agree with them, don't do what I said. If you do agree with them, make that decision because you agree with the argument, not just him saying, do this. T-Shroom, before we get into the stories, what are some of your thoughts about what I just said right there? Would you agree? Would you add on? Would you disagree with something I said?
No, I think that was really, really well put. You laid out a pretty coherent argument there, I think, for that, for sure. One thing that I've been kind of paying attention to is this midline of the Bollinger Band here for Bitcoin on the daily chart. It seemed to be support for the last 5 days, right? The wick did pierce through the midline here for today's daily candle. However, it looks like this zone of 68,400 or 68,376 specifically does seem to be like a pretty stable zone. And what other thing I'm noticing from the Bollinger Bands is we're starting to get sideways, right? Through all the volatility that we've been seeing to the downside and then back to the upside with a failure to get back to the upper band of the Bollinger Band, by the way, not bullish. That is all kind of summarized here just in sideways movement. I mean, it's not a shocker for somebody to say that we're in a crab market now for Bitcoin, but it is really well exemplified here by the Bollinger Bands, which are just so flat. This one down here, the bottom one, is just extremely flat with with a little bit of constriction as of yesterday and today. So that's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. But the other thing too is this line of support back down here at 64,007. I think it was tested back here, provided support. This goes all the way back to the highs from 2021, right? This goes back to the wick high here from 2021 in April, and it was 64,700. I've been bringing that to the attention of the folks on the 9 a.m. stream that tune in for that. That's really the long and short of it from my analysis of Bitcoin. Guys, what am I doing, right? I'm also waiting for a test lower. I mean, I just talked about 64,009, right? Is that a price that I jump up and scream and I'm very happy about. From a wallet standpoint, yes, because I can buy Bitcoin lower if I so choose. And I'm more likely get exposure to altcoins much lower if we get back down to that level. But I think that it's unlikely for me at this point, just because of how strong the buy thesis is, for us to get down and go lower than 64.7 at this point. Now, Tim has some arguments for why we could. Those are completely valid. And historically, they are intact. An argument is intact that could happen. So that's kind of my personal perspective. I'm holding my dry powder on the sideline until I see a good confirmation higher from here. I mean, technically, Tim, just one more. I know you had something to say there.
Well, I just want to address that one point you said before you move on, because I saw somebody here saying 48K. I want to make sure you guys understood what I said. I did not say I think 48K is going to get hit. I said that is kind of the lowest we could go if crap hits the fan. We could go down to 48K. I don't see what I need to see for 48K. Ultimately, I gave you guys two more realistic levels, 65, where we have a lot of liquidations piling up, and then 60K. After that is when you start to ask the question, if we lose 60K, now 48K begins to have some more weight to it. But there's two very strong support levels of this very sideways ranging price action where we're bouncing between 60 and 70, and that 65 is kind of the nice middle point. That's what we're watching right now. This is Solana start. So let me go to Bitcoin here. We got the nice 65 coming in down here, just slightly below the yellow support band, coming in here down this take profit. And then 60K, of course, is the level we're talking about where we wicked to back here in March. There's a lot of support, a lot of order blocks between us and there. We got support bands coming in. Again, 50-50. 50-50 is what I'm saying. I'm still believing 50% chance we hold 60K, which is still good. I think that's actually a good probability. I'm alleviating and opening up the spot right now for a potential move below it because I have not been impressed with the pullbacks that have happened on Bitcoin. Normally, we get bigger, better pullbacks in healthy bull markets, and I've showed you that historically. Does it have to happen now? It doesn't. I'm just kind of the fan. Like, I'd rather it happen right now. Like, I'd rather us have the 30% pullback now and buy a $50,000, $55,000 Bitcoin, right? Then have the 30% pullback at 100K, and now we're talking about the great dip of buying at 70K. Like, just you tell me which one you would rather buy. Would you rather buy $1,000 of Bitcoin at $70,000 or $50,000? I feel like the math there is simple and easy, and that's why I'm explaining it to you. I'm almost kind of rooting for that pullback now rather than later to show the health of the market.
Yeah, it's actually extremely key, Tim, that you're pointing it out there. And there's a lot emotional intelligence as well to be gained from thinking in that way. Because so often we get into this price must go up, my net worth must go up, or else I'm failing. It's true in the 10-year span. If your net worth is not going up over 10 years, something's wrong, right? But judging your investments on a week-to-week basis as failure or success is bad. That is a bad way to think about it. If you're thinking that way, you need to fix it, because the reality is either you have conviction in the underlying assets and they're going up, or you don't, and they're going up, or they're going down, right? Bitcoin is going up. Do you have conviction in those assets is really the question you have to ask yourself. The other thing I was going to point out, Tim, was that yes, we had a daily candle that has closed outside of this downtrending line of what was resistance is now kind of support. We'll see. Now we have this big red candle, though, that has given back all those gains from yesterday and tested lower. If that prints, what do you think that means? Does that if that prints lower than this support, does that change your 50-50, or does that 50-50 stay the same?
No, because so what we have right there with that candle, pull your chart back up. That is not the strongest I've seen, but it's technically a bearish engulfing candle. That is bearish. But guess where? Let's just say we close where we currently are at 68K, give or take. 69K.
69, yeah.
That to me is not screaming we have to drop below 60. Again, I told you guys I am in the 65 to 60K range as our next bounce. I think that's where we get our next bounce here, because this is the very boring. Let me FOMO you in at the tops and then dump the price. Let me fudge you out at the bottom and then buy the price. And we're just going to ultimately just trade sideways into the halving event, past the halving event. And then we decide, do we want to have that 2016 20% dip and then take off to the upside? Or do we want to see more of like a 2020 or a 2012 where we just trade sideways for a couple more weeks and then boom, we go on our merry way? Either way, I'm going to be watching very patiently. If I see dips, I'm going to buy. If I don't see dips, I like where I'm currently sitting with my Bitcoin holdings. I like where I'm sitting with a lot of my altcoins as well. I'm just looking to add to great positions. And then along the way, I'm going to look for little scalp opportunities using Lux Algo to a little scalp here, a little bit scalp there, just slowly add to my bag. That's the play here. That's the play that everyone should be having some way or another. And all this stuff that people talk about in chat. The best traders and the best investors have emotionally removed themselves from price action, and they watch the charts and they take what they can get. And when they can't get what they want, they don't act on it, right? So it's just one of those things that people might not like if you say price go down, but should you be prepared for price go down? Absolutely. Because when you don't have a plan, if you're not prepared for Bitcoin to drop to 48K, right? Let's just say you're like, there's no way Bitcoin drops to 48K. Well, if you haven't listened to someone say 48K and you had no plans for it dropping below there, when it gets down there, you might be tempted to freak out and sell thinking that somehow freakishly the bull market is over. And now you sell your bags at much lower levels and you miss out on those massive pumps. I'm trying to help you guys avoid a shock where the number happens that no one told you it was going to happen and you don't know what to do with that information. Ultimately, I'm not saying sell your Bitcoin and buy it at 48K. I'm saying hold your Bitcoin, and there's an outside chance that we might drop as far as 48K, in which case that's an awesome opportunity to try to create some more dry powder somehow where you can then buy it at those lower levels and lower potentially your average buy-in spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually thinking of analogy, Tim, when you were saying that, which is essentially, you know, if you are playing a baseball game, right? Oh, a sports analogy from T Shroom. What else is new? No, it's ironic because I very rarely talk about sports, but you're in for one right here. If you're playing a baseball game, right, you would want to know as a pitcher if this batter that's coming up is like a all-time Grand Slam champion, right? You wouldn't want someone to shield you from the truth and say, "Oh, this next batter, you got him. You know, he's just like all the others. You know, just get that fastball down the plate, and you know, we'll be off to getting our W for this game, right?" You would want to know if this was like, you know, the Sammy Sosa, the Babe Ruth, or whatever it's going to be. You would want someone to tell you that and not treat you like a baby and shield you from the pain that could happen. That doesn't mean that he's going to hit a home run on you. It doesn't mean that, right? Because at the end of the day, what you're betting on, what your fastball is Bitcoin. And I like that fastball. I'm not betting against it in the long term. But we are going to continue to see some headlines like this that spot Bitcoin ETF flows turn negative again as Grayscale sees over 300 million in outflows. But I really like the reaction here from someone in chat. Crypto Dave said Grayscale dumped 300 million yesterday and the market absorbed it. That's freaking bullish. That's a testament to the underlying asset that we have conviction in here, the investing bros. That's Bitcoin, right? You can bet against it if you want, right? Maybe if you're a good technical analyst, you'll actually make a profit on shorting Bitcoin sometimes. But over a long term, you don't want to be in the same category as Peter Schiff. I'll tell you that much when it comes to Bitcoin. Now, Tim, we talked a lot about charts there. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up was something you mentioned about Lux Algo. You can actually go right now in the video that you're watching live. It's the third link here after the hashtags, after the iTrust link, which you guys could check out as well. You've got the Lux Algo Trading Tools link. You click that, and you not only get access to the Lux Algo Trading Tools, but you also get access to a new section in our Discord. Tell us a little bit about that, Tim.
Yeah, well, so what you're going to do, and all of the OGs who are already members, you guys, we got a lot of people in there who are members. A lot of them have said they're going to buy Lux Algo here in the next, little bit here. But effectively, to get in this group, you have to buy Lux Algo. You have to come in, show me your ID, pretty much give me your receipt that you purchased Lux Algo through us. I have ways of vetting it. And then I get to manually accept you in the group. And what I'm doing every single day now is I'm posting charts. There's a bunch of charts in there right now of what I was seeing this morning. Like for example, Solana, I put in there this morning, guys, look out for 170 down below. And guess where Solana bounced today? 170. Who said that was going to happen? Lux Algo did. So great example right there of what you're looking for. But when you give me that, you get in there. But we're getting a lot of feedback that people want to buy Lux Algo. They just want to know how to use it. So I'm more than likely either later this week or early next week going to be getting you guys to sign up for a webinar. It looks like, we got 99 votes on the poll today. 55% of you are saying, yes, you want to be in there. Even if you don't buy Lux Algo, if you just are interested in what's happening there and you want to hear me break it down for you, you don't have to own Lux Algo to be in that webinar, but hopefully after the webinar, you're going to want to purchase it. And then you get to be a part of our trading group where you get to see my trades, you get to see my feedback, and also post your charts, your thoughts, and I will respond giving you, I'm not going to give you financial advice, but I'll give you feedback on your TA, feedback on what you're looking at, ask you the right questions so that you look at things the correct way, and that way help you guys become more profitable traders. Because here's the deal. I've been thinking about a lot of these exchanges, T-Shum and I, we're partnering with Blofin. We're probably going to partner with some other exchanges as well to give you guys a lot of options to be able to trade. But a lot of them, they ask us this question whenever they're reaching out to us. They're like, do you guys want to sign up for copy trading? Do you want to be a copy trader? You want people to be able to copy your trades and just do everything you do? And it's tempting because usually there's money. They're going to pay us some form of money. But at this point, I'm going to continue to say no because I'm a very big believer of if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But when you teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I do not want you guys copying my trades because what happens if I decide to stop trading for a while? Or what happens if I go on a streak where I'm just reading the charts wrong and I'm not doing well? I don't want you guys to hang your wealth off of what Tim Warren does. What I do want to do is teach you how to read those charts for yourself, give you all the tools that you will need. And in that way, whether you continue to keep watching me trade, whether you watch other people trade, whether you stop watching others altogether and you just live a life in the middle of the woods, day trading to support yourself and your family, I want you guys to be able to do that for yourself. And that's what Lux Algo is great at. And that's what this webinar is going to help you with. So if you're interested, come check out the webinar. It will be absolutely free, not a single dime. I'm talking with the CEO, I might even be able to get a couple of 7-day free trials. So some of you come to that webinar might be able to get to try it out for 7 days, absolutely free. But yeah, we'll be scheduling that later this week. Look forward to that. T-Stream, let's get into it's 3:43, and I know you said there's a decent amount of news to get into today. So let's go ahead and get into the news and break it all down.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tim, let's go ahead. Let's start with this. You referenced earlier the PMI data that was going to be coming out tomorrow. What was it? What was the inflation? As a headline, CPI. That's what it was. Just wanted to update you guys on the Fed schedule itself. So we just had the March decision on the 19th and the 20th. Obviously, that was a pause, and that's what folks were anticipating for March. Now, April, May, this is going to take place on, I believe it's April 30th. So there won't be one in May. There's going to be one on the 30th. Just kind of they split the difference. So that's when we can expect the next Fed meeting to occur. And I don't think we get an SEP for that one. If you know, you know. Let's move into the news here. And 1inch has partnered with MasterCard to launch Web3 debit card. This is definitely bullish for 1inch. I doubt we're going to see 1inch have too much upside, though, because it's a bloodbath out there. But this is good for 1inch. It's not really a project we talk about too much, but it's generally solid. I have a generally positive connotation towards 1inch. I don't do a ton of research on it, but it's generally a solid project. And now they've got a MasterCard partnership. This is pretty big for them. 1inch in partnership with MasterCard will allow users to make online and in-person purchases and withdraw cash using a debit card. And they're bridging the gap between Web 3 and Web 2, all the kinds of things that you would imagine are what's needed to generate a high adoption rate moving into the future for crypto, actual payments at cash registers. That's 1inch getting a nice partnership there. Ethereum co-founder sues U.S. government for wrongful accusations. This is not going to be too much of like a portfolio shifter, in my opinion. I don't think Ethereum's price per coin is going to be impacted all that much from this lawsuit, but it could be precedent setting in how the government can handle individuals in their investigations, because Ethereum network early advisor Steven Naryov. Now, we've heard this name before, and I got to be honest with you, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the guy who kind of pops up and is like, oh, Ethereum's going to zero because of blah, 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 but he technically was a co-founder. I'm sorry. It doesn't say Ethereum's
I
going
don't
to zero.
remember.
He says
I don't.
that there's issues with Ethereum, and it's early days and it's ICO and things like that. He tries to
I
just
can't remember if that
foment
was him.
fear. Yeah, and I'm not exactly sure if that's who this is, but the long and short of it is this could potentially be precedent setting for, again, how the government can interact with individuals who work at major crypto projects. So more on that, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. We'll see. It could build steam and be more significant than what we're kind of seeing today. Eric Balkana's Twitter, this thing is likely to be around 20 to 40x more volatile than the S&P 500. What is he talking about here? He's talking about something that he says it should come with a Xanax prescription, Tim. That's actually a pretty funny one there from Eric. You got to give credit where credit is due. This is a leveraged ETF for MSTR. So if you're looking to get crazy, I mean, crypto is already volatile enough. If you're looking to get even crazier volatility here, you can go ahead and get this one. It's just being filled, though, so you have to wait on it.
A 2x short.
Correct.
On MicroStrategy's ETF.
Yeah, coming in from Defiance. BlackRock? No, not a chance. This is Defiance, way lower on the list of ETF issuers. But now, they're going to be coming in. They're going to be coming in hot and heavy, Tim. These leverage ETFs for crypto, for sure. Especially Bitcoin. Bitcoin will obviously be the first to adopt this, but yeah, overall, it's pretty interesting. What do you think about that? Do you think that's going to play a role?
Let's camp out there for a second. The role this will play is. And I'm sorry, there's not going to be a happy medium here. This is actually going to be a very, very bearish or very, very bullish thing if it gets wide adoption. The only scenario where this doesn't have effect whatsoever is if nobody wants to take it. But what's going to happen is if this does get a lot of attention, either everyone taking this 2x short is going to get wrecked, or they're going to stay in it pretty safely, and it'll suppress the price of Bitcoin. Because I think you're ultimately going to see some people using this to potentially hedge some bets. Maybe they're a little overexposed in Bitcoin. They're realizing maybe Bitcoin's a little higher after a big run up. So they're going to go over and they're going to enter a little nice 2x short on MicroStrategy. And what, of course, is affecting the price of MicroStrategy's stock the most? Bitcoin. So this is something that I'm going to keep an eye on, that if it gets a lot of attention, could be a catalyst. When you hear people say 300K on Bitcoin, this could be a scenario where people short Bitcoin as it gets to 100K. And then as it gets up above 150, there'll be people jumping out of this like crazy. But it gets closer to that 200, people get liquidated there. Actually, people get liquidated at 150 if they enter a 2x short. So yeah, you see every time you get liquidated, I mean, we see it on the normal charts right now. You get past these heavy liquidation marks and all of a sudden millions of dollars flow into something. In this case, if people enter these shorts and Bitcoin continues just to tear to the upside, they will get wrecked and that will explode price to the upside. But again, the alternative is, do you potentially see some of these institutional investors start to hedge their bets as they gain a lot of profit in Bitcoin, but they don't want to exit Bitcoin necessarily, but maybe they enter some shorts here and there, suppress the price. This could stifle it. I'm going to go ahead and lean towards, I think this could lean towards more bullishness, T-Shroom, but I'm very aware of the potential to stifle price. It's going to be interesting to watch this one play out. We need to keep our tabs on that 2X. Look, that's going to be something we probably start watching at least a couple of times a week on this show, if not daily, because it could have massive impact one way or the other.
Well, two things just to stir into that pot of excellent analysis, Tim. First thing is that it's just filed. This headline is just kind of reporting on the fact that it's been filed, has not been passed. I will also point out that Tuttle, there's another issuer that has filed for similar ETFs that are 2x short and I believe 2x to the upside. Those already exist. They're called BitX. The ticker is live. BitX. You can get 2x exposure to not MSTR, but to Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin futures, I should say. That's been out for a while, and your boy has done very well on that. The second thing I will point out is you cannot get liquidated on these, right? It can go to, and I don't think it can really technically go to 0.0, but it can go very low. Like if you're basically betting against MicroStrategy, and I would say that a long-term hold of this is very foolish unless you have an ironclad will like Peter Schiff in the opposite direction of what the Bitcoin market is pricing Bitcoin at, then you have to be careful. But you cannot get liquidated. This is an ETF.
Well,
So
hold
you
real quick. What does that mean though? If you can't get liquidated, but again, 2x. If you're on a 2x short and the price of what you're shorting goes up 50%, that's 100. So you're down all your money. If you're saying if it goes past that, it goes up by 75%. Do you go into debt? How does that work if you can't be liquidated?
the issuer, I mean, it's a little complicated. It's a good question. So Defiance is the one taking risk. What they're doing is they have exposure to, I believe it's perpetual future contracts that don't expire in the same way that you and I can get exposure to the futures market for Bitcoin. Okay, so these guys they're tapping into a little bit of a higher level of futures trading, I believe, is how this works. But there's 2x shorts for the S&P. There's 2x shorts for everything that you can imagine that's a mainstream traded asset. This is the way that this works is if you're short, if you buy this ETF, you can buy it on once it's live. You can buy it on. Well, let's take an example of one that's actually out, a 2x short on the S&P. When you buy that, right, you have an ETF just like you would buy an ETF for Bitcoin, IBIT, right? But it's leveraged to the downside. So what does that mean? It means when Bitcoin goes down $5, it goes down $10, right? So if you started with $100, you don't get liquidated. You just now have $90 in that ETF that is worth now $10 less in the same time that Bitcoin went down $5.
But my point is in that scenario, that's where I'm confused on this. If it goes down if it goes down more than 50%, now you only put $100 in, you're more than $100 down. Are you now in debt? Like, do you owe them money?
No, it just goes to zero. I guess that's a better way. It's not that
Okay, I think then we have. Let's clarify. You can be liquidated. You can get taken completely out of your trade position.
You don't get kicked out. No, you're holding an ETF that's increasingly more worthless. Yeah.
Okay.
An ETF in and of itself cannot be liquidated.
If your account goes to zero, you have nothing. You don't have anything. Yeah.
Sure. I guess maybe I'm getting fixed on a specific definition of liquidation here. That's
we're not talking about stop loss, but your trade can be canceled. When you run out of money in your trade is gone. Like, that's it.
Well, no. I think the important difference is that you can get close to so you can invest $100 in this ETF, right?
Okay.
And then it could go to like 1 cent. Right, but the thing is that bet is still on. You're not out of the trade. You're not forced out of the trade. You just have a very.
We're gonna carry this conversation off camera because I don't think that we're on the same page whatsoever, and I'm confused myself. I cannot only imagine what the chat thinks. Let's get on to the next subject. Real quick, we did get a super chat from one of our members. I am the Beholder, member for 7 months. Thank you so much for all your support. He said Lux Algo is a bit overwhelming sometimes. It would be nice to see the most effective strategies for crypto trading on that suite. Yeah, that is exactly what I think the webinar is going to be for. I absolutely think you should come. I'll make sure to record it for anyone who can't attend the time. It'd be awesome for you guys to come live because I'll let you guys come on stage and ask me some questions. But for anyone who can't do it, I will record it and I'll release it. I'll release it in our Discord one way or another so that you guys can go into our Discord and watch it if you so want to. I'm not going to give you guys everything there is to know about Lux Algo because I don't use everything about Lux Algo. I have carved out. I probably use 30% of what they offer, and that's what works for me. If you want to keep exploring and you find something else that works for you, every trader is different. You are as good as you are at using the tools. T-Shum and I can use the exact same tool, and I do better than him in this tool, but then we go to a different tool, and he does better than me with that one. It simply is you learn how to get familiar with the tool you're working with, you create your systems with it, and then you do well. I'm going to show you guys my systems, my rules, how I use the tools. If you want to copy it 100%, good for you. If you want to tweak it and evolve it with your strategies, good for you. That's what we'll do in that webinar. So I, the Beholder, would love to see you in there and get you to ask some questions that'll help other people as well. So, Tisha, let's go on. Do we have more stories here, or is it time for a factoid of the day?
Yeah, we've got one more here, Tim. This is an interesting one. There's been a movement in the TIK TOK narrative. So famously, TIK TOK, well, I'll just read it. From the Cabesi letter, the odds of U.S. Congress passing a law to force the sale of TIK TOK just surged 74%, according to Kalshi. Now, this is kind of a rating agency similar to the S&P or Bank of America or something like this that issues odds on things. Congress passes a law to force TIK TOK sale, 74% chance. That's been a surge up in that. So that's kind of an evolving story that we're kind of tangentially keeping our eye on because that could impact the dissemination of information about crypto. I mean, how many people learn about crypto from TikTok? Probably not zero, right? So it's something we'll be tracking. But now, yes, Tim, it is time to get into decrypted.taxes, brought to you by the factoid of the day. If you are a trader or an investor in crypto in 2023, maybe you sold crypto, you need to go to decrypted.tax today to get in touch and book your free consultation with decrypted.tax pros. This is the organization that Tim and I both trust our taxes, personal and corporate, with. And when you tell them that the BROZ sent you, you get 25% off. Folks, this tax deadline is fast approaching. What is it, April 14th, right?
So you got like, what, 6 days? Borderline a week.
Yeah, you got to get this stuff done, and you're going to be able to get it done quickly with decrypted.tax. Man, that's going to be a quick turnaround, but if you...
Well, I'll tell you what you should do. Yeah, because even if you start filing today, it might be a hard thing to get in there. What they can do if you sign up within the next 6 days, they can file for an extension to make sure you get everything they need done. So it's not too late to contact Decrypted. They are phenomenal. So go check them out. Let's get into this factoid T-Shroom, and then we'll do some Q&A to wrap up the show.
In 1770, John Harris opened the world's first commercial processing plant in Wiltshire, England, to make this beloved item. Tim, was it gas stovetop, the mousetrap, the yo-yo, or was it bacon? Which was it, Tim?
I have no freaking idea. Where are these random questions coming from that have nothing to do with anything? In 1770.
1770, Tim. Where were you?
I was probably Vapor.
You
got it. You can't take it down. I got to look at them as I process through this. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you. I might have just cheated.
What?
I might have just cheated.
What did you?
Well, there's a tab right next to this tab called bacon. That
Pay no attention to the bacon tab.
Believe that it's me.
Oh boy, Tim, you've done it again. The world's first commercial bacon processing plant was opened in Wiltshire in 1770 by John Harris. This is according to the official bacon Wikipedia page, of which I have been frequenting pretty much daily at this point since I was 13 years old. Little fast fact.
Hey, listen,
just like to I'm a huge editor on the bacon Wikipedia page.
This is one of my favorite factoids we've done because I didn't know who John Harris was, but little did I know John Harris was one of my biggest heroes in life.
Right.
Where would we be here's what I'm going to get to, T-Shroom, right? There's Jesus, my Lord and Savior.
Right.
Right. There's my wife and my son. And in that order, that's a clarification for people. Your wife, your spouse should be higher than your kids. I know that's controversial.
That's biblical right there.
But Jesus, Taylor, my wife, Brody, John Harris, T-Shroom. That's where it is right now. Oh. I love you. You mean a lot to me.
Satoshi didn't make the list. Okay. Interesting.
T-Shroom than Satoshi, honestly.
Right. Wow.
Wow.
That's
John Harris is he's up there. He's top 4.
That is a high honor.
And I didn't even know till today. I just had that spot blank on my list of heroes.
Sergio making a good point here. Thou shalt not cheat, I believe, is one of the... Actually, I don't think that is a commandment, to be honest with you.
It's not a commandment, but I didn't mean to. I was just thinking, and my eyes wandered, and I saw a tab that said bacon, and I put 2 and 2 together quite quickly. Here's what I'll say. I accidentally cheated, and then I admitted to cheating. So it would have been completely different. I'd been like, bacon. And then inwardly, I knew that I had cheated. I confessed up front that my wandering eyes found something, a tab called bacon. So I feel like it's okay. I feel like I check out because I confessed.
Right.
Confessed to the crime.
I've got some bacon in my refrigerator. I think I might have to cook it up for dinner now. My mouth is watering. I'm salivating like a dog who's being offered a treat.
Oh, yeah. Good. Cool.
That's an update.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into our Q&A. Start dropping your questions, what you guys want to talk about. Do you want to do some TA? You want to just talk about some of the topics we discussed before? While we're doing that, I'm dropping a link right now, and you guys are going to be wondering. I'm going to pin this as best I can because it's not letting me. All right, I'm going to pin that a little bit later. This link right here, if you have interest in becoming a contractor working in the crypto world, this is a growing list where we'll be building out for contractors to work not only with us, but also with other brands. So if you fill this out and the person vetting it likes you, you could actually begin to work on other social media platforms. You can work on the social media platforms of crypto projects that need people to create thumbnails and do editing and help with business management. And there's just all these different lists. Check out the link. Fill it out if you're interested in working in the crypto space. And so I'm going to pin that. We'll need to put it in the description as well after we're done here, T-Shroom. I keep trying to pin it. There's a stupid heart right next to this thing that is stopping me from pinning it. Someone else has got to comment something so we can go there. But either way, go check out that link. And again, it'll be in the description for those of you who are watching afterwards. Let's go ahead and check out questions of the day. There you go. Thank you, T-Shroom. Now I can pin it.
You're welcome.
You guys are just asking just a boatload of questions here. Loving it. Someone said, where does Elizabeth Warren fit on that list? Not very high. Not very high.
We had a great comment here from Moho. Said, a true trader, you can only observe all information available. Not Tim's fault.
Thank you, Moho. That's true.
Yeah.
You got to work with what you got. Listen, if you know the marketing company of a coin and you know things are about to pump, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Wild Deuce says it was cheating, though. Yeah. Ron Wilson says, I don't match any creation skills. Hey, just put something on there. You don't know. You don't know, Ron. You might have some skills here and there. Let's see. How do I say this name? Parik. Oh, the back end of that one.
Patel.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not talking about the last word.
Oh.
I'm talking about the middle part.
Yeah. What's up, Patel?
Parik. We're going to call him Parik Patel. Thank you for being here, Parik. Said, I have a hard time planning exits while trading futures. Any tips? Well, Parik, that is where I have absolutely, you guys know I've talked, I even made a video on this channel about Lux Algo's calling of how to enter into trades. I have strategy I use with Lux Algo to exit as well. Let me make this clear, guys. It's not like it's impossible to trade with traditional technical analysis. I was actually explaining this to people in the members-only trading group. I still use it. Like Lux Algo is not going to necessarily help me too much with long-term price predictions. So like when I make those price predictions for where I think we're getting the top of the bull market, I can't use Lux Algo for that. Even to a sense of when we get to the top of the bull market, I probably will not be able to use Lux Algo to tell me where the bottom of the bear market is going to be. I'm going to need some good old-fashioned support and resistance, Fibonacci, fixed range volume profile. I'm going to need a lot of those things to help me make very large-scale predictions. And I still use traditional TA here and there for my shorter term. But Lux Algo has changed the game with all the tools they have for entries and take profits and stop loss positions. There's a plethora of tools that I use both to enter with high success rate and exit with high success rate. At this point, while I know traditional TA, and I want to teach people traditional TA, that's going to be part of what we do here in the future. Ultimately, if you understood what I understand about Lux Algo and you only want to day trade, you could, if you know the rules of these signals, you could be very successful trading using Lux Algo alone, not understanding anything else about technical analysis. It definitely helps. Listen, if you don't understand traditional technical analysis, there's going to be things that don't quite make sense to you about Lux Algo. But if you know how to follow the rules, ultimately, if you know I buy when this happens, I buy when this happens, I buy when this happens, and I sell when that or that happens, you can make a lot of money with that simplicity, and that's what Lux Algo does. So that's my urge to you, Parik. I very much would say take a look at Lux Algo if you're interested in doing that trading for both entries and exits. Zachary Martin said, what was the question? What is a great addition to any Bacon also fits the answer to that.
This was the question, Zachary.
No, but he's playing a little bit of a Jeopardy kind of thing with it. What is a great addition to any food? Answer, what is bacon? In the Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Answers.
Zachary was
Bituendo said, "Hey Tim, do you use Lux Algo Smart Money Concepts Indicator? I used it a lot. Smart Money Concepts Indicator. I don't know if I do, honestly. Let me see. Smart Money Concepts. I don't think I use this at all. What is it? Let's take a look at it here, T-Shroom. Smart Money Concepts is looking like it's just kind of the concept of order blocks.
Order blocks.
Effectively, that's what I'm looking at right here. It's just giving us smart money. It's just giving us areas where there's a lot of buying and selling. So I don't use that one. I definitely use the price action concepts, in which case, take a look here. These are actually very similar. The difference is, right, if I turn off the price action concepts, here I just see lines, right? So it's red if it's resistance, and it's blue if it's support. That's not bad, but you want to turn that knob up a little bit of information. When I turn on this one, the price action concepts, now I get information as far as, are there more longs liquidated here or more shorts? What's the percentage of the amount of order blocks in this space? Which ones are more significant? So it's almost like Smart Money Concepts is like level one. Hey, here's some suggested signals that maybe we could reverse at, versus the price action concepts is saying, we're going to take those same levels and tell you which one of them are the most important and biggest levels of support and resistance. And that's just one section. Then, of course, you bring in all the signals and overlays, and now you have your support bands, your resistance bands, your smart show concepts, your take profit suggestions, and these are suggestions. Take profit suggestions and stop losses all in play here. So, yeah, I technically do use smart money concepts. I just use the more sophisticated version, which is the price action concepts. So.
Tim, we've actually got some breaking news. Sometimes I'll check Watcher.guru. This is the breaking news here, Tim. This is real. $4 trillion asset manager State Street says Federal Reserve will cut interest rates by 50 basis points by June and 150 basis points by the end of 2024. There's only 6 more decisions. 150 basis points. How many? What is 150 divided by 6, Tim? Quick maths.
Wait, 150 divided by 6?
Yeah.
I mean, less than... No, hold on. I don't know.
Bruh.
Oh, I can't do it either. It's staggering. I don't know what to make of this.
It's going to be 20-something% or something like that.
So 25, probably 25% each time. I mean, that would make sense. So that's crazy. So there's only 2 decisions between now and June. State Street going ahead and saying that they're both are going to be cuts in March and
I'm going to go ahead.
June.
I'm going to go ahead here and predict what Caleb Franzen's going to say to this, because we absolutely need to bring this back up tomorrow when Caleb's on the show. He's going to say, he's going to say that's stupid. We're not. Remember, he said September at this point is borderline the earliest he sees it happening. Yeah. Last week he said he's not going to be surprised if it actually squeaks into Q4 before we see even one cut. And if you're telling me to go with this guy or Caleb Franzen, who do you think I'm going to go with?
This guy. Well, I mean, State Street it's not big. It's enormous. I mean, it's in the conversation with Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street are the 3 biggest wealth managers.
You don't argue with Caleb Franzen on these things. State Street should know better.
Let's see.
In fact, I'm gonna go get that tweet, and we're tagging Caleb Franzen in it, and we'll see what he says about it, because he's probably gonna have a nice little quote.
Effective federal funds rate. That's what it is. That's what Caleb applies. You got to go out on the 3-month.
All right. I'll let you guys know in Discord what Caleb Franzen says to the tweet. You also could probably go look at B-Ball Golf said Tim called me immature yesterday. Listen, that is the sophisticated. I feel like saying that there is a lot better than some other words that people could utilize to regard a stupid call like that. And I'm going to call it that. Like, they're literally saying every single one from here on out will have 25 basis point cuts, despite the fact that there's A, zero sign that we're in the right spot for it from inflation numbers, and B, Jerome Powell has made no moves whatsoever. And last week, T-Shroom, this is probably not a popular opinion, but I actually am glad he said it because I'm one of the people quietly in the same camp. Caleb Franzen, we asked him if he became president of the United States, would he fire or keep Jerome Powell? Now, I might not go as far as him where he said he thinks Jerome Powell might actually be one of the greatest Fed chairs we ever had. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. But on this show, have we not said, surprisingly, we're actually kind of proud of how Jerome Powell has handled the process and his unwillingness to cave to a lot of pressure to cut interest rates early. He has stuck with what he thinks is the right call, which I think is the right call, of keeping interest rates higher right now. That's not a popular opinion. Most people have found some reason to dislike Jerome Powell. And I'm not going to say he's like the most likable person I've ever met. I mean, he's not in my top 10 of heroes I already forgot my hero's name. What was his name?
MLK?
No, number 4 on my list.
Satoshi?
No.
Me.
Creator of Bacon.
What
was his name? See, I already forgot. To me, my
John
hero's
Harris.
Bacon, I guess. John Harris. All right.
1770.
He's not going to be as high as John Harris on my list.
He needs some milk.
With that bacon.
But I have been one of the few people I've seen publicly say that I actually thought Jerome Powell was doing a good job, and then Caleb Franzen agreed with me. So I'm listen, if the whole world is against us, me and Caleb Franzen will go against the entire world on this hill.
Tim, Caleb Franzen famously says, don't look at the CME futures tool anymore.
And I haven't ever since he said it. I don't even know that exists.
What he says is to pull up the 6-month T-bills relative to the effective federal funds rate. And as long as they are keeping parity with each other, then the bond markets are not pricing in a cut yet, right? So within the next 6 months, right? So the earliest would be September. Jane Street, State Street, taking the opposite side of this and saying, no, it's going to be the next decision, right? It's going to be, because you don't get to 50 basis points unless they do 50 in June. You don't get to 50 unless you spread it out 25 in April, 25 in June.
Yeah.
So we probably have a lot of crypto bros freaking out right now. They're like, who cares about all this Federal Reserve crap? And I get you, right? But you are entering into a realm where liquidity matters. Cryptocurrencies, unless you're trading them on like the weekly, outside of Federal Reserve policy events, then you are which means you're an investor in crypto. You are entering a realm where risk matters, and crypto, for better or for worse, is still seen by the biggest whales as a high risk asset. So that can change. That should change for Bitcoin. But right now, we are beholden to the Federal Reserve. It is that which controls the supply of the most circulated currency, the most adopted currency in the world, and you can't just ignore it. And in addition to the currency, they also issue the world's largest bond. They manipulate that supply as well. So, Tim, that's the long and short of it. Any other comments? Any other questions here from the bros?
Yeah, I think that's going to probably wrap up today's show. The last thing you have to do before we leave is smash the like button, everybody. Now that's all of you. If you're subscribed, if you're not subscribed, if you, in the words of Smay, if you like dogs or dislike dogs, if you like Jerome Powell or dislike Jerome Powell, if you love bacon or you love bacon, because that's the only type of person there is in this world, even vegetarians like bacon, smash the like button, hit subscribe if you have not already. We are already fast on our way to 12,000 subscribers, but we need your help to get to 50K before the end of the year. I shave my head. 100K, I shave my beard. That's going to be rough. With that said, though, you guys have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow. Love ya. Adi.
Os.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.